Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to another edition of Reptile Ventures and part 2 of our how to breed ball python videos. So last time we talked about the females, and we'll talk some more about those, but first we're going to talk about the males and how big, how old do they need to be, and temperature and all that. So with the males, it's not as cut and dried as with the females, but I'm going to say that a male between a year and a year and a half old and somewhere between 700 to 900 grams is probably going to be ready to breed. And I'll just show you real quick. This male here, young male that I've been raising up, and he's right around that age, right around that size, and just got first little signs of sperm plugs when you squeeze, and you can squeeze out some of the stuff. If you see that, then they're getting pretty close to wanting to breed. Having said that, you know, males can breed a lot younger, a lot smaller size than that. Some males will, or they won't breed until, some males might not breed until they're in their 3rd or 4th year. I mean, I've had males like that kind of screws up your breeding projects that you've got planned, but it really just depends on the individual male. So, and actually the youngest male I've ever had breed for me was only 6 months old, and that was my very first spider that I bought way back in 2004 when they were worth like thousands of dollars. He actually did father a clutch when he was 6 months. I couldn't believe it. But that's unusual. I have heard of males breeding at even younger ages. I've heard of it, but it's never happened to me. I suppose it's possible, but anyways, so most males between a year and a half old. What temperatures do you keep males at? I keep them exactly the same as I do the females. Daytime temperatures of 90 degrees, drops down to 88 at night, and then again just the ambient temperature in the building here. And again, the males will, when they're ready, they will tend to cool themselves. They'll always be at the colder end of the cage. So they're pretty much the same as what the females do. So, and the way I do it is I introduce the males into the female's cage. But what do you do if a male's not interested in breeding? A lot of people say you can add a second male. I've not had a whole lot of success doing that. Ball pythons will combat. I've seen it on rare occasions, but if they're going to combat, they'd also be ready to breed. So you wouldn't need to combat them to get them ready to breed. If they're not ready to breed, they're probably not going to combat. I mean, it can't hurt to try that, but it hasn't really worked for me very well. You could also throw a shed skin from another male in there. Hey, bud. And that might help. It's just something you can try. But usually if a male's not interested, he's probably just not ready, and you got to give him a couple more months or whatever. So, okay, so what I like to do, like I said, is I like to introduce the male into the female's cage, and I usually do that late afternoon or the evening, and a lot of times the next morning they'll be locked up. But oddly enough, for me, I find they won't be locked up the next morning, but they will be at some point that day. And that was the case with these guys. I put him in last night, and they were just sitting there not doing anything this morning, but later on during the day, I'm not going to disturb them, but they are breeding. So I don't know why that is, but you know, usually within 24 hours of introduction, if the male's interested, he will lock up with the female. So we'll just have a look at another one over here. Okay, you can turn it off.
Go.
Okay, again here I put this guy in last night, and this morning they were just kind of sitting there, but I checked on them this afternoon and they're totally locked up doing it. So that's what you want to see. And this female has got great sized follicles. She's, well, they're at 19, 20 millimeters right now, so that's more than ready. Okay, so you've got your female. She's been bred 2 or 3 times. How do you know when she's actually gravid? The only time a female is actually going to go on and lay eggs is when she ovulates, and until that happens, really nothing's happened. Female has to ovulate, and ovulation is basically a big, huge swelling, kind of the mid-body swelling, and I'll just show you with a female that is ovulating right now. Now this is the female we ultrasounded last week that had the really large follicles, and it's not a full ovulation, but it's getting really close, and right in this area you'll just see a big, huge swelling like they've swallowed a giant meal, but it's just sort of a little further down where a big meal would be. It's just kind of back here, and when you see that, that's when you know a female is actually going to go on to lay eggs, because what ovulation is the release of the follicles. They get fertilized, and then they're moved down into oviducts, and where they get shelled and all that stuff. So that's really what you're looking for, and usually once you see ovulation, usually about 3 weeks after that they go into a pre-egg lay shed, and roughly 3 to 4 weeks after they shed, the day of the shed, usually 25 to 30 days after that is when they're actually going to lay eggs. So, and that's pretty much like clockwork with ball pythons. Really nothing ever changes. I have had on occasion females do an extra shed in there, which is weird, but that's really rare. So usually when you see ovulation, you get the pre-egg lay shed, eggs after that. So, and I'll just show you a little bit how I set up my gravid females. Okay, so what I like to do is once I see a female that's ovulated, I like to give them a nest box. Now, I don't do this with all the females, but the females that I keep in these big tubs, I do give them a nest box. I mean, the tub is big enough; it's easy to fit in there, and they will totally utilize it. As soon as I put it in there, they're in there like a shot. And I put it over the warm end of the cage, and this female is only a few days away from laying, but there you see she's just sitting there in her nest box, and I just put like some cypress mulch in there. This is kind of dried out, but I usually try to keep it a little damp. So yeah. Same thing here. Yeah, that female is, again, just a few days away from laying. I want to try and find one that's like sitting upside down. Okay, none of them are sitting upside down, so whatever, okay.
Oh, well.
A lot of times you'll see them inverted in here, which is kind of cool. So, but yeah, that's how I like to set them up. If I breed the females in the smaller Rubbermaid cages, or like a freedom breeder or something, then I won't use a nest box. They'll just lay the eggs right on the floor of the cage. I don't really like doing that because I've had eggs really stick to the bottom of the cage before, and it's kind of hard to get them off. So with this, there's the mulch is in there, and there's nothing to stick to. So that's just the way I like to do it. Okay, so yeah, I hope that all makes sense, and that it's helped some of you understand the process of what's involved with breeding these guys. Like I said, it's not really difficult. Most of the work they do by themselves. You're just a spectator. So anyways, we'll answer a few questions from last time.
Okay, from LTL Ball Pythons. Question. Maybe you can answer on part 2. What are your thoughts on people not using heat tape and just running their rooms at 86 to 88, 24/7, 365 days a year?
Yeah, I don't know. I have had no experience. I've never done it that way. what would concern me is that they can't warm themselves or cool themselves in that sort of a setup. I think it's really important to give them the option of a warm spot in the cage and a cold spot, and if you're just heating the entire room to, you know, one set temperature, that takes that option away from them. So I don't know, I wouldn't do it that way, but.
Okay, die cut 20. Why don't you say anything about age of the females? You say that females can get to 2 kg in 1 year, but is she really ready to breed?
No, I didn't say 1 year, I said 2 years usually. I mean, females, I mean, I've never bred a female that's been less than 2 years old. It's never happened. Most of the females I raise up are between 2 and 3 years, somewhere in there. So yeah, that's the age.
Okay.
Between 2 and 3 years.
He has another question. Stupid question maybe, but sometimes you get excited when you hatch a girl to keep. Other times you're happy to keep a male. When and what goes into your decision? What you keep, male, female, multi-gene, etc.
Well, I guess, well, the higher end animals, I guess you'd be most happy to have as a male, because you can take that high end animal and breed it to multiple different females, right? I mean, I was, you know, for example, my dreamsicle male, you know, the fact that he is a male really it changes the game as far as it's concerned with him, because I mean, I can start breeding him hopefully this season to het pied females and het lavender females and making all these different clutches, right? If he was a female, I mean, if that turned out to be a female when it hatched,
Yeah, 3 years
it would
to
be
wait.
cool to have, but you know, what good would it do me? I wouldn't be able to breed it for the next 2 or 3 years, and I'm only going to get 1 clutch out of it, right? So that's pretty much.
Here's another
the answer to
question.
that.
I'm not sure who sent this, but your ultrasound machine, where can you buy one at? How much does it cost? I have 3 females. I'm breeding 2 now, and this ultrasound machine would really help out a lot. Thanks.
Well, I guess there's lots of places you can buy them from, but medical supply places. There was an outfit a number of years ago called Lavender Ball Pythons, and he was bringing in these ultrasound machines from China. They're Chinese machines, but and selling them for pretty good prices. I think we paid about $4,500, I believe, back about 5 years ago. I don't think the prices really changed too much. You're looking at somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000. If you've only got like 2 to 3 females,
not worth it.
Don't buy one. Buy more females.
Good
it's
answer.
not worth it. I mean, if you've got, you know, once you're getting up maybe 30 or 40 females, then yeah, it's a good idea, because really what it does is it just takes the guesswork out of it, and you're not wasting a male's energy breeding a female that isn't going to go on to lay eggs or just isn't ready. You know, you can sort of pick the females that are ready, and you know, 1 or 2 breedings and it's done, right? So there you go. Okay. So anyways, thanks for watching, and again, if you have questions, just leave them in the comment area. I'll be happy to answer them next time, and subscribe to our videos. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.